He is asking everything we've been talking about. Like, Andy
That's
Cohen,
true.
are you listening right now? Like, they were touching on everything we've
the
been
questions
talking
are questioning.
about.
Yeah, the questions are questioning.
Okay, friends.
Oh,
so,
hi. Hello, everybody.
hello, everyone.
We're back.
Welcome to Overanalyze.
Analyze.
I gotta say one thing.
Okay.
We watched the Beverly Hills part 1 of the reunion.
Yep.
It's so much better than all 3 of the parts of Salt Lake City.
Oh, we thought so.
The women are respectful. They talk. There's very little crosstalk. They respect Andy. He didn't have to get up and walk off. Also, there were no big, huge spoilers with this reunion. There was a massive spoiler with the Salt Lake City one. I didn't think they had enough stuff to talk about for 3 parts, but I was on the edge of my seat.
Going back in the whole lexicon of my brain, Beverly Hills, I think I've always said this, is its own. It definitely stands out in a much different way than other franchises. I mean, they all have their own thing. Not since, I want to say, like Brandy Glanville on the show was there a lot of like chaos. That's a bit dramatic for me to say that, because there's not traditionally like the, getting up and yelling at people and all that kind of stuff. They do seem to have a more decorum in general. Though this is only part 1, so who's to say? But I did think it was really good. Actually, from start to finish, I thought it was very informative. First thoughts, I think, I really enjoyed Erica's whole segment. Probably is one of my favorite parts, if not my favorite part of part 1 of the reunion. I am an Erica Jane fan, but I really enjoyed hearing more context of this about her like domestic violence incident that she experienced and revealed, hearing more about her relationship or lack thereof with Tom, but like more of the behind the scenes stuff that we didn't quite know. At least I did not. I don't know if she's talked about that in other formats. I'm sure she has to some extent. So I really enjoyed that. And of course, they ended it on a high note with her in terms of like talking about her new relationship. But Erica was a bit activated in terms of, I think at one point, I think it was after them talking about Amanda. I think there was one point she's like, you know what? I'm talking too much. I'm just going to be quiet. She said something along the lines of that. I was here for all of it. Like, there was nothing that she said that I disagreed with.
Yeah, so she was my favorite.
Oh, 100%. She was definitely my favorite too. Rachel's segment, cute, love it. You mean great, tidy. Amanda, obviously, cringe on top of more cringe.
But I was so pleased to hear that the cast were as irritated with her as we were. I was like, oh my gosh, it actually came across on TV, because we rolled our eyes. We talked about her deliberately staging her items, and they called out all of that.
Yeah, that's true.
I love that she was infuriating you guys. I
called that out. And that, I don't know if it was that same, was it the same trip? And I said, it wasn't the same trip. I think they said something about Sedona.
It was Sedona for that. For us, it was when she was doing the wedding planning.
Wedding planning,
for the wedding. But it still was the same thing.
Yeah, we definitely noticed that behavior. So it is.
Erica's an overanalyzer.
Erica J need to come on overanalyze. Manifest it. Maybe we'll email her people next. With that being said, though, I was instantly brought back. I think Amanda got a break from us, certainly towards the end of the season, because there was a lot of chaos with Dorit versus Kyle that it almost made her look, Amanda, it almost made her look watchable without wanting to like scream. So she got a little bit of a reprieve there, but I was instantly brought back because everything was an excuse, or, sometimes it's okay to be like, okay, I'm taking that feedback and I'm going to process it. There's so much value in that. And it was just like she had a response to everything, which I know that's kind of like that is the point of a reunion, is to not necessarily defend. It's your moment to respond to things, good and bad, and everything in between. So I understand that. However, again, there is value in saying when people are telling you like, hey, we're trying to get to know you and this and that. And you're just like, just go, okay, I hear what you're saying. Let me ponder that thought. Let me reflect, because your whole thing is fucking manifesting and building up women. And I think we learned how that does not come across very well. And we weren't the only ones to feel that. So I agree with you. I want to hear more from Kyle, though, about that specifically. And she was either silent, but there was one part where it almost seemed as if she was giving her like an off ramp a little bit. Like when people are new to the group and they can be mean or something like that. She was saying like everyone, like a lot of people weren't welcoming to her, paraphrasing. And she was kind of saying like, oh, well, I being on the show this long, how it feels. I take it upon myself to be like, well, I was just like, no, like she's annoying and she came off horribly. And we all know that. So don't give her this off ramp.
You are not responsible for her.
You're not responsible for her. Don't be her keeper. And I want you to criticize her. And we didn't really get that. It wasn't out of character. I'll put it that way. If nothing else, she's consistent.
What'd you think of the set? Because we saw the pictures from when they recorded the reunion or when they started to release them. And
Yes.
So to the audience listening, if you have not listened to all 50-something of our episodes, I have only watched the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion. I've never watched any other reunion. Right. So I'm going to be comparing it because, hello.
That's what she does, honey.
That's what I do. But I thought the set was really cute, especially after Andy explained it. He was like, this is Rodeo Drive. Because Kyle made a comment where she was like, oh, a car and everything.
I've never seen a car on set before, but I think looking at where that car was, and they're saying they're replicating basically Rodeo Drive, it almost seemed as if, there's like a Bentley parked outside of the store, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I don't think it was necessary. I'm like, whose car is that? And like, why is it there?
I thought it was cute. Once they explained it, I was like, oh, pretty woman. And like her leaning over the car. But thought it was nice. When we saw the pictures of all of them, I will say Amanda's makeup looked better on TV than it did in the photos. In the photos, her dress is so distracting. You're just like, ugh. She looked like an adult at the reunion. Her lip is a little bit darker. It was kind of like a dark reddish pink. So I was like, okay, I kind of respect you, but she was very defensive. She took a page out of Dorit's book and she was just flipping everything back on them instead of answering stuff. All right, but let's go
let's get into it. Well, we can start at the very beginning, the opening. Again, I'm a Kyle super fan, so I'll let everyone cry about it later. But
Kyla super fan?
Well, I am a Kyla super fan, yes, but a Kyle Richards super fan in addition to. But I love that it started out after the pleasantries that Andy noted that Kyle is the longest running housewife across all franchises. And when asked how it feels, Kyle quipped, "I'm still standing." And I don't know if anyone else clocked. And then Dorit was like she kind of like side-eyed. And I'm like, you know what? If you want to hate her, hate her. Got it. We were very clear on that. But the chick is making Bravo housewife history. Like, just give her the fucking clout without the attitude. Like, give me a break already.
I felt that when they were still coming out because Dorit was second to last. Yes. And she came out and she was like, I guess I'll walk this way, walking past them. And Kyle said something to her and she just kind of looked off. And I was like,
you're right.
Oh, she's already in a nasty attitude. And I was like, I don't think you're insufferable. My co-host does, but you're starting to show me that you are a little bit insufferable. Because I'm like, it hasn't even started, ma'am. Please. Because when you walk into something with that attitude, it's like Amanda showing up to birthday parties sulking already. Like you're going to bring that whole energy.
Yeah.
It does. And so I just was like, ugh, get over it. So
I clocked that too.
I have a silly question, but maybe not so silly. Do they see each other before they come out for that? Like, are you feeling amazing and you're dressed and you walk out and you're like, oh shit, I'm underdressed?
I can't remember. I feel like I've seen it. I think it was maybe in the trailer. You kind of do see, yes, not all of them. They don't all get together and like chill. Like some of them do. Like the typical friends, where like Kyle and Erica talked. I'm sure Boz and Dorit talked. So like that, but not like as a big group. They don't like, they all come on one at a time. It used to be, it's so funny when I think about the evolution of like Housewives, because there was a time when the reunion would start and they were all just seated and it would go like right into it. Like, okay, welcome to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 2 reunion. And they were all there. But now there seems to always be like a lead up of like semi behind the scenes. Like you see them arriving in the cars and they're dressed down and we see them in the makeup chair. And sometimes Andy will go backstage like, so how are you feeling today? And so it seems like, there's been an evolution, kind of how it started, which is just kind of interesting as a super fan.
You and I have been talking about the reunion seating chart for a couple of weeks, but I didn't notice until they were on the couch that it's Zorit and her two allies, and then everyone else on the opposite couch. I didn't
Yeah.
quite get it until I saw it, and I was like,
Mhm.
because they were saying that Bose was a little bit of like a yes man, and then Rachel doesn't get in the mix. She's always kind of mothering and defending Dorit, and I was like, oh, and you guys are all on the same couch. So I thought that
Which
was
is common. You'll
Mhm.
notice that, like, even with other franchises, like, you're not going to see definitely two adversaries sitting next to each other, but you do see kind of this is me using this word, it's not Bravo, but like the teams, so to speak, oftentimes are kind of, congregated together, unless like there's sometimes, unfortunately, maybe one person on an island by themselves where no one really likes them. And so they'll try to put the next best person that they get along with. But typically, yeah, you have the people on the couches that are legitimately like in good places with each other rather than, mixing. So I
That
was
makes
not
sense.
surprised by that,
Yeah.
of course.
I just like the feel of it. They had so much more banter and stuff with Andy, probably because it's been
Mm-hmm.
15 seasons. So I liked it. I thought it was good. I mean, I went into this one like I was really excited. I think when I watched Salt Lake
Mm-hmm.
City, there was kind of like what are you guys going to tell me? Whatever. Well, actually, that's not true because you and I watched part 1 of Salt Lake City together.
Mm-hmm.
You had that giant piece of chocolate cake.
You bitch. It was red velvet, thank you.
Was it? Okay.
Well, you know what? I think as we had high expectations of like what was to come on Salt Lake, and some of the things that we were hoping for did not happen, like
True.
airplane footage or like more like is there going to be a bombshell? I don't expect any bombs to be dropped, basically. Like I don't think there's going to be anything, and I don't know even what that would be. Which is not shocking for Beverly Hills. I mean, quite often times there's the drama on Beverly Hills isn't like that deep, if I'm being completely honest. You don't have people fighting on airplanes, abusing people in Beverly Hills. They're like, no, we have more couth than that. So I think our expectations are not necessarily lower, but they're a little more simple than I think we were hoping for Salt Lake City. So that might be part of it too. So then we go into Rachel's storyline. So we see flashbacks of Rachel's first season play out, covering her divorce from Roger. And Andy asked if any part of her came on the show to get back at Roger. And I feel like I'm very hypercritical and petty. So it wouldn't be far-fetched for me to do something like that. But I feel like we might have, maybe not talked about it, we might have mentioned it. Like, I wonder if she came on during all this to get back at him, or I don't know, something like that. So I feel like that's a natural question. And she said, obviously, no, that she didn't, not even a little. And then Andy asked if Roger was seeing things from the show and getting upset. And Rachel said she's sure people have told him and acknowledged that some really bad things happened in real time that summer and that there's a lot she didn't say on camera. And I thought that was really interesting.
I know that Rachel Zoe had been on Bravo before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, welcome back. But I hadn't really thought about it from the Bravo side until his questions. And I was like, why would he care, Roger? And I was like, well, I guess if you guys built this entire brand, and even though it was the Rachel Zoe project, it was always her and Roger.
Right.
And then even now, it's your life with your 2 kids who are Rogers. And I'm like, oh, I hadn't really thought about how he would have felt not being included. So I thought it was interesting, but I think it also just proves all the history that she has with the channel and how cool it is that she gets to come back. Notably, the camera people showed us Amanda's reaction because Amanda, try as you can, she has been here before, right? You said that in Sedona in a flippant way, but the truth is, everyone doesn't get asked back. Everyone doesn't get asked to a different show. And everyone is not well received and celebrated when they come back because Rachel could have been compared to Camille Grammer, which you were, Amanda. And I haven't even watched that season, a good thing. And I know it's not a good thing. So I thought it was really good.
Didn't we? I swear we did talk about that though, of like
we did because of Frasier. Because I notoriously, you guys, I love Frasier. You used to love or do,
I don't know.
No, I was just watching it like the other day.
Frasier you still watch Frasier? Like old school Frasier.
No, I just restarted the whole thing. I'm on season 2. It's like 9 seasons.
I didn't really watch Frasier. My big thing with that is because I used to love Cheers growing up, and so I know, and that was like the segue into Frasier was
this was the
character.
spinoff.
even as a little boy, I loved like Nick at Night and TV Land. Like I Love Lucy was my favorite. I mean, it's still one of my favorite shows of all time. But I used to watch these as a kid, the Jeffersons. Like, so it wasn't odd for me to watch these shows. I don't know, call it old soul. I don't know what you want to say about it. But I remember thinking as a kid, I'd watch Cheers and be like, I want to like hang out there. It just seems so comforting, like this kind of not dark, but this very like comfortable looking bar with the dark wood, and everyone knew each other and friends and laughed. And I swear I remember being a kid going, when I grow up, I want to like hang out at places like that and have a place like that.
Aww.
Isn't
Did
that
you
so
ever
weird?
go to Cara Bar? That was on Parsons.
I don't know, but I don't think so.
That was my Cheers. It was a bar.
See, that's the thing.
It
I
was
love
down
that
the
people say things
street.
like that. Like
They
I have a
had
Cheers
these
bar.
sauerkraut balls. So
Yeah.
ironically, I didn't watch Cheers. I only started to watch it because Ted Danson comes on Frasier a couple times.
Mhm.
Because apparently he was a big heartthrob back in like the
Oh yeah, I thought he was
90s.
so hot then.
When he comes on Frasier, you look at Frasier, and I never thought he was attractive, but you're just like, oh, you're the ugly friend. So it made me want to watch. I don't know. I just kind of always did my own thing when it came to TV. I'm like, no, I'll watch this show that's like completely not my demographic in a different part of the country.
Hey,
What's he doing?
I love that.
Yeah. Anywho, but yeah, Camille Grammer was on the show, and apparently she was not well received. Just like
Oh well,
Amanda.
season 1 at the reunion, there were magazines, and Andy Cohen quoted them saying she was on the cover of a magazine, like a People or Us Week is one of those, and Camille Grammer in the headline was America's most hated housewife. So comparing Amanda to her, I thought was hilarious and almost accurate. But going back to Rachel, because yeah, we had talked about in an episode about like, do you think that he's going to be really pissed that she's talking about him like this negatively on this big platform? Because you have to imagine, definitely at this point, he must know, or at least how he's being portrayed through what she's saying about him and the kids and the girlfriend and all that.
Well, he would have had to give permission for the kids to be
Yeah,
seen on
that's
TV.
true. That's true too.
So
that was his wife. He knows her, and I have to imagine that he would know like she's not gonna not talk about things on TV.
he knows her, and she is probably going to pay him alimony, so he probably can't say anything. I don't know what he does.
That hurts.
But I feel like she probably is the moneymaker of the two of them, so he probably can't say too much. I don't think she said anything terrible. I think the worst thing was if you just read between the lines of the flip of what you kept saying. Who cares? The kids are with the dad. They know it's fine. If you're reading between the line where it's like she's not even comfortable with you being around your own kids,
right?
That part probably hurts more than anything she's actually said.
Oh, totally. So, and we all know like men are very like, talk about petty men, especially in this kind of industry and money and power and all that kind of stuff. Their egos are so fucking fragile, and so who knows? So I hope, God forbid, I hope he's not a dick to her because of it. But I agree, it's not like she said anything like defamatory. He must understand how this game works, so hopefully it won't be as bad. But I think that's I don't want to say things like that because it sounds almost naive, like
I thought it was interesting when Andy asked if her parents still talk to him and how they
that was
feel.
really interesting. And that he came for like New Year's or something. The mom,
I know, but we really loved that episode when she was in the Hamptons and we got to see her parents.
Yeah.
So I thought that made sense. I feel like we had a conversation about this where Andy was asking for questions about Beverly Hills, and there were a whole bunch of like social media comments of people like, who's watching? I didn't even know it was on. I called bullshit, or I called it was a loud minority. Because he is asking everything we've been talking about. Like, Andy Cohen, are you listening right now? Like, they were touching on everything we've been talking about.
Yeah, the questions are questioning really good.
So I was like, oh no, we've been on point. Like, maybe people aren't spending hours talking about it with their friends, but I was like, everything we have hit, yes. People, because that Hamptons trip was such a big highlight of the entire
it was one of the only good parts about it, or
great.
Positive things. Yeah, I agree. And then lastly, in terms of Rachel's story, Andy revealed that Rachel was photographed on the red carpet with a man named Sasha. And here's what I thought was funny. So a fan questioned, and this is going back unfortunately to Amanda, but sounded like I guess they were saying that he was some sort of life coach who sells online courses similar to Amanda. And they, of course, pandered to the camera to her face. And Rachel giggled and described him as more of a mind-body alignment person who focused on centering and forgiveness. I don't know what any of that necessarily means.
Sounds like she's dating her therapist.
That's what I thought. I'm like, well, she did say she was like, she's like, I'm not a client. I'm not a client. I mean, cool. I mean, whatever. You just know. Amanda loved every second of that. But it's that situation where I bet you she's just so thrilled that she's even being mentioned in some sort of similar-ish manner of the ethos of Rachel Zoe. And you know she feels so validated in something, which is crazy. But you know, you could tell the look on her face. She's like, oh my God, I would die.
Yeah, I thought Amanda, because she's such a try-hard, she's going to take anything. If anyone says, oh, white gowns look great, she's going to be like, yeah, we're not talking about yours. Like, she internalizes all that stuff because she just wants people to be talking about her.
Yeah. Oh, she does. Of course she does.
We've had multiple occasions of calling her a narcissist on here. She's not even delusional. So.
And I think she believes her own shit. And you know what? This reunion kind of validated that. And we haven't gotten, we will get to it, of course. But when it came to like when they were talking about Amanda and all her stuff, the way she responds, it does not feel like someone who is trying to like seem unbothered. Like, like what? I didn't do that. And it's very annoying because it's so inauthentic and it screams somebody who is a try hard. Either you really truly are unbothered, and if that's the case, you should not be on the show, which it seems like some of the women were kind of like, in a roundabout way, we're trying to hint at, like, maybe this is not the show for you to be on if you're like like, we're not here to like manifest and high five each other and go, woo. Like, that's not what this is. Yes, that can be part of it, but this is about like relationships, friendships, real life. And with real life comes really difficult, shitty things. We make mistakes, we step in it, and we'll fight back and forth. But as long as we can do the mature thing, which is come to some sort of resolution, unlike what Kyle and Dorit can do for whatever reason, that's just part of life. And she's just so like blasé about everything. But it does not come across, which I think she's trying to, which is, I'm too grown and unbothered. I think she is more bothered than she's leading on. I feel like it's like almost like her plan is not working or something. I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying all this correctly or how I want to, but how she comes across, her responses, it just seems very like gross. I don't know.
Well, it's a really obvious defense mechanism that she has. And if she was sitting next to Kyle, her entire demeanor would be so different. Because she would have had her to be her rock and kind of to like do whatever.
I totally agree.
So she's kind of, I feel like, finally showing us how she probably actually felt all season, which was, I don't belong here. Right? And even Erica is like, we want to get to your heart and soul. That's what this is about. This isn't, we are too grown for that shit. And you can even see the look in her face, like, I'm not grown like y'all, but you are, sweetie. You're 41. But you are, right? Like, maybe you're not multiple marriages in, your kids aren't grown, but you are an adult, right?
Yeah.
And so the thing with Amanda is she says these things, and you called it out earlier, where you can tell she's not taking any of the feedback in. Because even where she says, like, I just don't go in rooms where people don't know me.
Right.
How is that a compliment? How is that a positive thing that you're never outside of your comfort zone in a place where people don't know you? Like, well, Eddie is not being emasculated. Oh, how do I know? Because we lay in bed and talk about it. And you're his only friend.
You think he's going to tell you, bitch? Like, come on.
You and I talked about this, and I said, I don't know what he says to her, but I was like, I promise you, there's an aunt, cousin, sister somewhere who is like, you hear how she's talking about my son? You hear this? Do you even need me to pay you? Doesn't your wife take care of everything? Like, it's going to impact him. That I did not care for, where it gets to be like, don't emasculate the man. The man's ego, be careful, be careful. That is a generational thing. And she's not going to be able to express that in the right way. I don't care if you feel like you make better food. Tease me once and let it go. Every day, don't talk about, oh, are you burning the food again? That's the shit that's going to fester. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, totally.
She's going to take the words and be like, they're so old school, I can't make more money. It's not about that. It's about just rubbing anything in anybody's face. Like,
And you're
irritating.
on
But
TV. Tone deaf is not even the right word. It's I used to think like maybe it's something to like people that live with like rose colored glasses on. And there's a part of me that thought in the beginning of the season or at some point, like, is she kind of that girl that just thinks that she's in La La Land all the time? And I really don't think it is. I think she lives in her own delusion because it's probably someone in her industry. And if she's not living, breathing, and talking about it and seeming unbothered throughout it all, why would anyone buy it?
yeah.
So she has to, she is the brand. And after this episode, when it came like after her like little segment, was something I was thinking about. I'm like, how did you make money? And I don't mean like literally like besides your stuff. I'm just trying to think of like let's use Bose for an example. I think I've mentioned I've been reading her book and it's fabulous and amazing. So I know her background. Most of us know her corporate background, but her even like her first job out of college of her going to New York with little to no money, and she was like living on someone's like couch and for payment she would cook for them, but that meant that she would only eat once a day because they would buy the food and she'd make it. And then she would hang out in this like Spanish restaurant or something and outside a payphone, and she would call this temp agency like once an hour to see if she booked a job. She eventually did with Spike Lee's PR or marketing agency, I can't remember, and basically she started working for him, and the rest is history, let's just say. My point being is I can understand Bose, who is, but it's more of a like charitable type, like giving back of her knowledge course that you can buy, which is not thousands of dollars, mind you.
And a
But
Harvard appointed course.
Harvard appointed that she made
Because
sure to
you've said
clock.
that. You're like, if this is not a course that I can take out of school that like has been accredited, get out of here. And I was
Yeah, I
like,
don't want it.
ooh. And then Bose
But
had all the
but
receipts we didn't even know.
we didn't even know that. But at least that is something like I have this proven resume and track record. This is how I made, let's say, money. And the fact that we're not like zeroing in on this more in terms of on the show, it's like they're close to it, but I want someone to call it out, and maybe they will, who knows, for even more like, you did not really do anything, it seems like, at least in comparison to these two women, meaning Bose and Rachel. You were kind of putting them down for
Mm-hmm.
some reason. And I'm not sure I'm understanding that when I have no idea what you've done. It's quite clear what they have done. And that's how
Yeah.
you made the millions. Like, I'm not understanding. So whatever she says, this falls extremely flat for me.
No, it's true because you and I, we're big fans of work. Not like work yourself to the bone, but sometimes that's what's required too. She
Yeah, that's
hasn't told us
life.
anything that she's done besides like the most effort I feel like she's done was when she had to run away from the cult. If she
Right.
ran away from the cult and what the details are about that one. So, even if she kind of didn't gloss over even the blog that she wrote about the cult. You know how hard it was for me to
Hmm.
write that? I had to do this? I had to do that? She just doesn't give us any of that. And I think she's probably afraid that, like, if she shares the background, it puts holes in her perfect picture. But what everyone on the cast is telling her is that we don't care about the perfect picture. And you probably would get more clients if you just told us, hey, this is my life now, which I enjoy. This is how I got it. Instead of, everybody wants this. Come be godly as fuck with me, because we're not trying to do
Hmm.
that. But I do have a note here, and women outsource their financial well-being all the time because people outsource their
Hmm.
financial well-being all the time. Like, my daughter expects us to pay the mortgage and her to have a house. People
Hmm.
do that, and it's not that only women have done that. And it's not to say you don't judge people for doing the stuff they were taught.
Hmm.
You don't. It's 2026. Yeah, Dorit expected her husband to pay the mortgage, and no, she wasn't checking every month. I check all that stuff because I don't trust people. But like, people
Hmm.
do that. Amanda, you actually are pretty cynical. And there's
Oh,
also this
very.
defense
Hmm.
mechanism of you being like, I pay everything. It's not the flex you think it is, because that also means you probably are taking on so much burden and stress that you don't even have to, or that you could share with Eddie if you wanted to, or like, I
Hmm.
just hate that she is judging them so hard for just being people, because people do that. Like, they just do. And I,
Hmm. That whole statement, and obviously we're talking, that statement comes from something that she said to her husband about Dorit. And first and foremost, it was just mean.
yeah.
That's just a shitty, mean thing to say. And I totally agree with everything you just said. But the only thing that I would add to that is, and Dorit does make the point. She's like, when I met PK, he had filed for bankruptcy. He had not much. Like, we kind of built this shit together. So, and I think she even clocked it this way. She's like, not only was it offensive, but it's completely inaccurate. But furthermore, what I would say, it's, how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know what, let's say, arrangement, for lack of a better term, that they had? Maybe when they got together, she was like, listen, I don't want to work. You have a better financial situation than me. And maybe he was like, yeah, you don't have to work if you don't want to. You want to, let's have kids. And if you want to stay home, great. Do little side gigs, whatever that might look like. Point being, you don't know what their relationship is. So I understand, like, in that moment, and I'm not defending Amanda by any means, but if we're trying to get into her psyche a little bit, she wasn't a Dorit fan at that point, right? So I can understand you wanting to say something snarky, or she rubbed you the wrong way. And that was just and knowing that she's going through a very public and nasty, trust me, I'm not a Dorit fan. There's a laundry list of things you can criticize and say what you want about her, right? That was just a very nasty thing to say. That was very uncalled for. And again, and they know that they get to it. And it's wrapped up in that conversation that Bose and Rachel try to make to her, and Erica, I believe, too, of like, you cannot say something like that and then continue to market yourself as, I just believe in women empowerment. And I'm really getting pissed with her. And this is what was really like, she oftentimes is hiding her shitty ass comments and putting women down in this, like, I just want her to know her financial situation and lean into, it's all of that, like, wellness con artist BS that we see all the time, that people take real life things that can empower, or how we can educate, whatever the case might be, and she's using that as like a tool to weaponize someone else's woes to, I'm assuming, make herself feel better, or seem, I mean, I don't know what her motive is. A prime example is when we talked about it early in the season, of when Dorit announced that she got a book deal, and then she did a whole, like, ghostwriter comment. Same fucking thing. So she hides these, like, low blows behind this, like, probably because she realizes, like, okay, that's not going to land, so let me pivot really fast. Again, very cult leader, like, pivot. What's the point? Okay, how can we spin this? Spin it. Very much of a, a marketing technique. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
she's
that's
not
Amanda.
empowering women.
No.
At first,
Oh
it
God,
looked like
no.
it was just like nice, nasty, like, oh, that
Right.
dress looks cute on you now. But then it's so underhanded and dirty. I'm not a big fan. I mean, even when Sutton tries to jump in there and explain, if her husband ever said to her, I make all the money and all you do is take care of the kids, like, that part is so much more valuable than even the money. And Amanda is so fixated on the cash part. And it's like, you have a partner who enjoys being with his kids. You have someone who puts up with your shit. You keep saying she doesn't think her shit stinks. You don't even realize how much he's dealing with because you're such a handful, but you're just like, no, I'm just amazing, tra la la. And we're like, can we give him a medal for even being around? Like,
can we give him a medal for dealing with you?
But when Erica and the others are trying to even give her advice about how these things are going to fester, and she just can't even hear it. And she's just like, that's not me. So she's so shielded. And if she was alone, sure, live your life how you want. You are interacting with other people. These women have different experiences. Maybe you don't learn from all of them, but you don't have to reject them immediately either. Because that's not how you're going to endear anybody, right? And it's like, I don't know if Erica's son is from Tom.
Not.
Kyle's eldest, Farrah, is not Mauricio's. They have had some conversations. Maybe all of it won't apply to you, Amanda, but you have a blended family too. How about you listen, right? And so she's even worse than defensive because she heard nothing. She literally is sitting there the whole time like, why am I here? Oh, it's part of my contract. The whole time. And it was,
at least
you can see it.
Across. Yeah. At least that's how it comes across. I agree.
Maybe it's because of like the 3 facials a month. She's got no like facial expressions.
Whatever.
Okay, but now that she's done, we can talk about Dorit and Bose and...
Well, I'm going to say this first. and I wrote it down. As you've noticed in reunions now, when everyone typically gets a package, so that's their whole like Rachel's was first, right? We see her whole thing. Erica's now next, and they all like Andy does his thing where he presents it, and he says, with a husband in prison and a $25 million lawsuit on the horizon, and they start laughing. It made me happy for her because that means she's dealing. She's dealing. I just thought it was so funny. And Kyle leans over to her. She's like, "Who are we talking about?" Because it's so blatantly obvious. Um, but I wanted to point that out. I thought it was something very
Mm-hmm.
like just funny. And I think Andy even said sorry that I had to build it up that way. And she's like, "You're lucky I'm laughing." But Andy opened up by expressing sadness for what Erica went through and asked why she chose to share it. And Erica said she held it in for a long time and that if Denise Richards hadn't said anything first, she probably wouldn't have either. And I thought that was very telling and very interesting that she, it is, first of all, we've said it before, we'll say it again. It was very brave of her to be so open and vulnerable talking about her domestic violence
Yeah.
situation. But how interesting that she probably wouldn't have mentioned it if Denise Richards she didn't go what she went through and then come on the show, that she probably would have kept it inside, which I thought that was fascinating and then quickly turned into sadness for me because I thought that is so sad that she talks about how it opened the door to like other forms of shame of like her marriage and things like that and the abuses that she felt from Tom. There's something about that really just like hit me like that's so sad for anyone who feels like they either have to or they don't find themselves in a position where they feel comfortable sharing that to anybody. And I'm glad that she was able to
Yeah.
have that platform to express that so it can help other people who might be in a similar situation.
Yeah. I do too. And they showed the clip of it. And I
Hmm.
remember enjoying the conversation she had with her therapist. But
Yeah.
even on seeing it again,
Yeah.
you could tell that
Reliving it.
she hadn't just told her therapist for the first time. They've talked about it before. Maybe this was the first time she wanted the cameras to be there with the therapist.
Yeah.
So it did break my heart to know that she has been living with it so long. Also, I respected it though, because when would she have brought it up? Like, in
Hmm.
what segue, right?
Hmm.
This isn't a, I'm at a dinner party. Oh, well, my baby died. Like, you don't
Yeah.
bring stuff like
Yeah.
that up. Like, this
Totally.
is a heavy thing. Oh,
Very.
I
Yeah.
was hit before, like, no, this is a
Yeah.
really big thing. And so
Hmm.
I get
That's a
how
good
that
point.
wouldn't just be brought up
Hmm.
anywhere. But that Denise Richards episode or scene where she is in there was very unique because it was a very unique situation. And then
Hmm.
to say, I support you, I've been through that without
Yeah.
taking over the attention and the thunder from
Totally.
it happening is
Hmm.
very, it speaks so highly to her. Like, I went into part one of the reunion knowing that I liked Erica, especially coming off
Hmm.
of the Italy trip.
Yeah.
And I literally wrote here, I was like, I'm a fan of Erica. I'm a huge
Mm.
fan. I just
Yeah.
reserved her books from the library. Like,
Hmm.
Erica Jane is that girl. I think she's just honest. And I think she
Hmm.
just lets us see her
Mm.
honesty. And
I
I
agree.
appreciate it. I really, really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I thought it was also interesting that she said when Andy asked her, "Did anyone know?" and she said that she did tell Kyle and Dorit because they were supposed to take a trip to Aspen, to Kyle's and to Aspen, and they didn't say why, but like I don't know if the flight was late or they couldn't leave on time, and she was I guess freaking out over it, and she's like, "I have to leave," and that's when she told them why, and I thought that was fascinating. So that tells me also what good friends they are, not because I mean it sounds like a low bar to say like, "Oh my god, they never told anybody," and that's not what I mean by that.
Yeah.
But you often think about, I think aside from people who go through really traumatic things, furthermore, because Erica and Dorit are not in a good place. And it makes me think about like going back to Dorit saying, no one's, oh, you've been going through a fuck ton or whatever it was, but basically insinuating, what have you been going through? And now we've learned that she's also known this information. And whether it's 2 years ago, longer, or yesterday, it
Mm-hmm.
really doesn't fucking matter. That kind of stuff doesn't just dissipate and disappear. And so I kept circling my head around that statement of like, you really fucking said that to her? knowing this piece of information that no one at that table knew about up until the episode aired, I'm assuming. I just thought about, wow, you're a real like piece of work. Like
Yeah.
that would really destroy me if my friend said anything like that, knowing if I knew that they had that information.
When I heard that, I like audibly was like, oh, if that one situation can't bond you for life, I
Right.
mean,
That's what I
what
mean.
does?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, how
Like,
does that not? In a way.
and Dorit, you got to do better. Even if it
Hmm.
just means you going out to lunch with both of them together or individually, and you're just like, I'm
Hmm.
going through something. And maybe part of
Hmm.
Dorit's thing is she doesn't want to be vulnerable in front of them because they do know her so well.
Hmm.
But you can still tell them that, hey, these new girls, Bose and Rachel don't know me. Let me start over with them
Hmm.
as this Dorit. But you got to tell them, right?
Yeah.
Dorit, you can be going through a selfish time, but that doesn't mean you eliminate the feelings of
Hmm.
the people around you. And
Right.
now I'm actually hearing more about the depth of it, right? The flashbacks they were
Hmm.
giving us in Italy was like Dorit and Erica driving a car. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cute. Ha ha ha.
Hmm.
This is something else, right? And so
Well, that's a good
Dorit did
point.
not come across as
Empathetic
being
at all.
strong in
Yeah.
the episode at all. Like in part one
Mm-mm.
of the reunion, I was just like, all of these lines we've heard them before, and they're getting really, really weak. But it made me really excited for parts 2 and 3 because I
Hmm.
know Andy is going to call her out. So you said that Bose has been closer to you. How do you feel? And so like
Hmm. I know.
he's going to call her out on all of the
I
stuff.
cannot wait
And
till
so
they
for that,
dissect that
I'm
whole last
excited.
dinner. I
Mm-hmm.
totally agree. So going back to what I said about Dorit's claim that she didn't know Erica was navigating through legal difficulties during that Italy trip, and Dorit said that there was a lot on her mind. And then Kyle said, as friends, we don't have to mention everything all the time to feel sympathy from a friend
Mm-hmm.
because, and I'm paraphrasing, Dorit said something along the lines of, because we're not talking about it, I'm not thinking about it. And I'm just like, girl, I'm going to tell you one thing. All my close friends, all they need to tell me if they're going through a thing, and it does not matter if the event happened months ago, a year ago, let alone 6 years ago, I'm going to remember it. And it's not like it doesn't mean I'm going to bring it up all the time. I know how to read the room, but if your friends are going through really big things like a $25 million lawsuit, I don't simply forget about that because we're not talking about it. I don't choose to talk about it all the time with them. I let them kind of lead. Doesn't mean I forget about it. So
Oh,
that
you
was,
forgot her
I
husband is in prison?
just, you forgot that they're suing her for $25 million.
But wait, she wouldn't even have a new boyfriend if she was still married. What are you talking about? How
I
many
know.
Erica Janes do you have in your phone? How many other friends do
Right.
you have? Oh, I confused you with. No.
So I'm with a lot of people that think Bose's relationship with Dorit is very kind of odd to a certain extent of how they're so
Mm-hmm.
close. I hope she's listening to these things of like, you have no problem calling bullshit on a lot of other stuff, i.e. Kyle. How do you not call bullshit on this? Like you need to lean over to Dorit and say, you girl, you really forgot about all this shit that Erica's going through? Come on. You know that's not fucking true. You're just being self-centered. And if that's the case, fucking own it. Just
Just,
own
yeah.
it.
She does not realize how big of a loss that is going to be.
I
Because
hope.
Erica is a mama bear. And
Mhm.
I feel like all her friends are her cubs and she will go to war for you. You don't want
Totally.
that energy on the opposite side.
I totally agree.
She said Tom would not speak to her for
I know.
6 weeks,
I
and they
know.
lived in the same house. Listen, I have broken off an engagement for less. There was a guy. No, this guy got mad at me. He separated our food in the refrigerator, and I was like,
That's what I'm
"Oh,
see.
that's some
Men,
sociopath shit." I was like, "Nope,
yes.
nope, nope.
That's what I'm
I'm
talking
out."
about. Men, straight men, have somehow earned
Mm-mm.
this reputation as we're definitely seeing our political fucking climate about how like men they need to be empowered because they're not emotional and this and that, and I was like, straight men are the most fucking pettiest bitches
And emotional.
and emotional. That's a prime example right there. You separated the fucking food. You are a petty pussy is what you are.
Because, like, what were you thinking while did you feel strong? While you
I
were
know,
like,
what do
I
you
think
get out
that's
of
her
that?
yogurt. This is my rice.
Right.
No. And that was
Yeah.
extremely petty. And I remember calling my dad And I was like, he was like, no, it's gonna escalate. He was like, there's
Mm,
no chance. I was like,
yeah,
so
there's nothing going up from here. Yeah.
no. So
Oh, that's
that
shitty.
was terrifying. I mean, that
I know.
she didn't even bring that up when they were talking about emotional abuse, but that's emotional abuse.
It
Because
is
if you're
emotional
paying all
abuse
the
and
bills and
financial
I
abuse.
can't do anything or go
Mm-mm.
anywhere,
Especially when you're the breadwinner, when you're paying the bills like
mm-mm,
that, that's financial
mm-mm.
abuse. Like that's
That
terrifying shit.
I don't think she takes comments and words lightly. So what she has said to her in Italy, even if Dorit does apologize sincerely, she's gonna have to show her. Erica's not
Yeah.
taking anything at face value.
Well, I think there is a place where they can move forward 100%. But from Erica's perspective, like when you break someone's trust, like you have to earn it back. But even then, I mean, at least for me, it's like I'm so weird with trust because it's like, okay, if you can, break my heart or hurt my feelings or say something so cutting to me once, who's to say you won't ever do it again? At least what that revolves in my head. Something like this, I'm just thinking, okay, when shit hits the fan again,
Mm-hmm.
who's to say that you won't say something shitty like that to me again? And that's all I think there's a path forward. I don't think it's what was. I think
Yeah.
it'll be much different.
What about
Okay.
Kyle? You think she and Dorit
Oh
can
God.
like reconcile anything? Because Kyle finally admits to using the wrong word instead of saying Dorit was erratic, using a
Hmm.
different word. But Kyle bucks up a little bit and she's like, my expenses aren't your expenses.
Hmm.
I don't even know why you're comparing us. Kyle
Hmm.
has not apologized, at least what we saw in part one, for judging Dorit. And I think the root of this whole thing is you are judging her for not being you. And it's okay, but you just acknowledge that you are, because even saying my money's not your money, you're judging your bank account to hers. Just admit that you're judging her.
I don't think she is though. I'm not getting
Yeah?
that at all. I don't see
Mm.
any judgment because that's her friend. There's no need to judge. There is no judgment when you've been friends with someone that long. I think when it comes to Dorit and Kyle, if we're talking about the defense, so Dorit defended her. I think you're talking about when the $4,000 she spent. So Dorit says she spent
Mm-hmm.
the $4,000 because what we didn't know that we do now is that I guess that store was owned by Rachel's friend, and that she felt bad that no one bought anything.
That was
And I'm like,
bullshit.
I know, I call bullshit. I'm like,
To which it's Rachel's friend. They know the clients she brings in here all the time.
right. I would
Stop
never
it.
feel bad. I feel bad if I go into a store and obviously, and if I didn't know them, I'm like, oh God, I'm the only one in here. I should buy something. But that's a friend of a friend. And you didn't have to buy four fucking thousand. So I
They're
call
fine.
bullshit. So here's the thing. I think what she's saying is exactly what we know. Your finances are quite clear. Well, we don't know the details. Maybe Kyle knows a little more than obviously we do. It is quite clear your house is a public record. It's in pre-foreclosure. That was started last year. That was in pre-foreclosure. So now we have jumped a whole year and now it is apparently in foreclosure. That's public knowledge. We do know some other like weird financial stuff, whatever that's true or not true. People like PK not paying bills, whatever. Point being, your situation is clearly messy to some extent. If my friend is going through a shitty divorce, we're on national TV, you're speaking ill of him. So you're saying these things to a guy. Again, we just talked about straight guys are the most petty emotional ones. I'm pretty sure this petty guy is not going to like seeing the things that you're publicly saying about him. So he's going to try to like come at you. Okay. And your finances are a mess. If I saw my friend going through any of these things, I would say, listen, are you sure you want to do that? Are you in a good place? Like, I'm just checking in, blah, blah, blah. That's what friends should do because you need somebody to help you with some sort of guardrails. So I don't think it's judgment more than, I'm just, I will tell you what word I am using to describe during this reading, and that is erratic. I'm almost like I'm
Hmm.
looking at her mannerism, her raising her voice, and she's just so intense. I'm just like, I just want to be like, can you just shush? There's no reason for you to be raising your voice and talking like this. You're being too fucking much right now. And I did see that a lot online too. So I know I'm definitely not the only one that felt that way about her performance on the reunion. I think Kyle is doing what friends do, and that is, and they show those clips, by the way, of Rachel talking to Kyle and what like people are talking to her, and she's standing by that. So altogether, she's just saying, my friend, I know she's going through a fucking tough time, and I don't think her finances are exactly clean. don't spend the money. So I think that's where a lot of this is coming from Kyle. I don't think it's a judgment because I don't think Kyle would have a problem saying like, yeah, maybe I just, I'm kind of judging. I don't think she would have a problem admitting to that. I did not forgot
Yeah.
that vibe. Like, there's nothing about it. I think she's being a friend. Like, you need to slow your roll a little bit.
And the reunion has enlightened a lot because maybe even with her knowing Dorit, she's like, bitch, we both know PK ain't paying for anything. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe you do need to
Right,
save your money because
exactly.
we know he's not paying for anything. We know you're not checking. So when you do finally check, it's going to be bad.
Mm-hmm. And like, I
So,
don't know, like, what is. Here's what I thought was interesting. What prompted Kyle, which I thought, I mean, sorry, I clapped my hands a little bit when she said, I'm not in the same financial situation as you. And I think that was exactly what my response would be, especially if my friend is poking the fuck out of me all season when I'm just trying to help you. I can understand, like, maybe it's not, my words aren't landing. That's fair criticism. So talk to me about, like, that, but she's not saying anything inappropriate by any means.
yeah.
And so I think I don't know what the thing that she said was judgmental. What I thought was judgmental is how Dorit is coming at her about the $4,000 and all the other things about the money and erratic and stuff. It's look at her tone and her positioning to Kyle.
Mm.
I think it's maybe she's jealous of Kyle, quite honestly. And that's what I mean. You could see, I think body language and tone are so distinct, and people don't want to give credit to Housewives in this
Yeah.
way, especially when they're on their team, so to speak. But just look at how the two are talking to each other. You could see all of it. Dorit is just very like clawing, and she's very aggressive. And Kyle's just like, okay, yeah, I hope not either. And the only time she does buck up, to your point, is when it's a legitimate like time to like,
Yeah.
bitch, you want to fucking poke at me? No, I don't have money issues right now. So you redirect that energy somewhere else because I'm not the one. And that's how I
Yeah,
took that.
she mentions it when Dorit brings up Sedona and she's like, we all went shopping. And we do see Kyle buy like a $2,000 necklace or something,
Because
but
she can.
we
Because she
also didn't
can. Yeah.
see. Yeah, we haven't been talking about her finances at all the whole time. Because I was going to say we didn't see bag after bag after bag, but that doesn't even matter. We were not talking about her finances. We were talking about,
And Kyle doesn't have a problem with her finances. And then here's what. And if there's a time that she does, then she'll get the same criticism if she does not change her habits. I think
yeah,
that's totally
that's
fair.
true.
But I
That's
think
true.
Dorit is just very. I just think she's delusional.
I think if I rewatched it, I think I would see her as erratic, especially because this entire episode started and I was like, I noticed that weird face, like her
Mm-hmm.
rolling her eyes when she even came in. So you could tell she was preparing to hear certain things. And then also her
And
body
also,
language is completely off,
it
though.
is. It's very
Yeah.
like it's too much. And the final thing that we can say about this, and I think it was a really good point on Kyle's part that I think kind of flew under the radar, so to speak, is about the erratic comment. And what she tried to say was, okay, yes, I misused that word. What she meant was when I'm going through a lot, because Kyle has been open about like she has like OCD tendencies, and she used herself as an example. She's like, maybe I put my stuff onto you because I know when I'm going through a lot, when I'm in the thick of it, she gets hyper fixated. Basically, she's like, I work out too much. I this, I that, I do like, and that's a very like common thing for people when you're super stressed out when you're going through a lot in life. And Kyle used herself as an example and admitted, maybe I put some of my stuff onto you. And I don't think a lot of people
Mm.
caught that or are giving it enough credit where she's saying, yeah, I'm sorry. And again, like I misused that word. Here is the what I was meaning, where it came from. And with that explanation, I feel like it really shined a light on what she essentially was meaning. And I think that's common when you see your friend displaying different behaviors that seem a little like, okay, they're doing a little too much right now, knowing especially they're going through a lot. Of course you're going to talk about it with your friends. Like it's not outlandish. Like what are you all talking about?
Comparing it to Salt Lake City, they left and it almost felt like it was recorded the next weekend. This
Mm-hmm.
one, it feels different. Like you can tell that they're prepared for the answers, but it's not like super scripted. They're just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like taking it as it comes, I guess.
Yeah.
It's really refreshing. I think maybe the packages for each cast member are a lot better.
Yeah. Maybe.
The entire season you've been talking about how boring this was and how it was like snooze fest the whole time. But I think part 1 of the reunion was pretty good.
Well, the reunion is making up for it. That's for sure. And we already talked enough about Amanda's stuff. Though, let's talk about when she was asked about the criticism that she was receiving, if it surprised her. On top of the things that we had talked about, I mean, we were pretty harsh on her compared to the comments that he was reading off. But basically, they mentioned that she was bragging and it was all about her designer, like labels and the designer stuff, saying that she thought she was on the show about rich women with cool things. And Erica pushed back, saying the show is really about heart and soul and that the group has had a hard time getting to know Amanda.
Yeah. I thought it was really funny because what Erica did not say, because she's a classy girl, bitch, we all have that stuff, which is why you don't need to show it and talk about it. Like, hello. And it's not even new money to want to be showing it. You thought the show was about rich women with cool things.
I know. I'm like, what?
Rich women with cool things. Even I thought the show was about them going shopping and having brunch.
But you thought there was more content to it.
Things. Well, yeah, but at least brunch, you get conversations, you get this, or you guys are out shopping together. Rich women. Okay, so let's, not knocking whatever it is she's done. Let's say you quantifiably have a lot of money. Is it enough to pay off Erica's lawsuit, $25 million? If not, whatever. Cool things.
You know, they should have said that. They should have said that.
Is this why you wore head-to-toe Louis Vuitton on the flight to Sedona?
Yes.
Rich women with cool, impactful women, impressive women, elegant women, powerful women, right? Sutton is one of the quietest people there with board seats all up and down California. Rich women, and that's why you wore this gown that your kids made. Rich women with cool things. You said that out loud. I agree. Like, Dominic, if she was the youngest housewife ever, 27 years old, great. That bitch is grown. You've been manifesting your whole life to be on a show with rich women with cool things. That's stupid.
But you know what? I'm sorry, I'm not over the children made your dress comment. That just really touched my phony. But also very accurate description of the dress.
And I looked it up. It's custom. But
whatever. By who?
There was a model of it, and then she added some embellishment. And apparently, there is another picture. It has a slit up to her thigh. I noticed that when she was walking. She needs a pose coach because she just doesn't know what she's doing. But it still would have been kind of bad, but.
Yeah, she needs mental help is what she needs.
How about you those are the cool things. A pose coach, a stylist. Rachel's right there.
Exactly. Literally, like, whatever.
I mean, we joked about it before, whether or not she watched the show before she came on. And maybe she didn't. She probably told an assistant to write it and give her highlights.
I think she writes things thinking they are so, like, quips and, like, oh, this one's going to land, and none of it lands. Or with the select few people. Because she has no friends
to bounce them off.
She doesn't. She just has really employees that can't leave. So, lastly, it ends with Bose versus Amanda, the business clash. I love that. So, Andy read from an interview where Amanda claimed Bose had told her she was losing money on her courses. Bose immediately pushed back, asking what exactly she said by that, and Amanda said it happened at the Vineyard. Bose challenged the idea, asking why she'd ever confide that into Amanda, and Amanda rolled her eyes, and then footage was rolled showing Bose saying her online workshopping wasn't work, it was something she did to help. And Amanda used that to say Bose confirmed she didn't need to make money from it, and Bose replied, I lose money on it. I'm going to let you take this first because I have a lot of thoughts.
It confirms that Bose, as the person who facilitated this Italy trip, probably said a lot of shit she does not think about because she's busy. Also, out of the 5,000 words Bose said that day, you took those three
Oh, of course she did. Yeah.
and built this entire thing on her saying, because if you remember, that was when they went to stomp grapes in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And their entire conversation is, but we want to get to know you. Tell us about your babies. You're always talking about your business. We want to get to know you. If I, Bozoma Saint John, have a moment of saying, but that's not all I do. In fact, I lose money on this. And you think that puts us somewhere in the same realm because I posted a workshop that was built on a speech and a course I had at Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on my website, and I'm selling it for what, $250 for all 5 sessions? I think we looked up.
Mm-hmm.
If you think my tiny hobby compares to you paying your entire mortgage with this,
mm-hmm.
it made me really, really,
Mm-hmm.
really upset because it was worse than petty on Amanda's part. It was ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still trying to defend your business. And even it took me back to when they were leaving Italy and when Amanda decided that she was going to just Google Bose to be like, oh, look, she's had a course too. And her reviews are like mine.
100%.
You two are not the same.
You're not the same.
You two
She
are not
is
the same.
I think that people need to hear that again and again because they are assuming, based upon what ignorant Amanda said, as if that is Bose's livelihood and that and I don't know what the investment was in terms of money value, but she didn't create it to make millions, I need to make money off of this. She was taking it as a form of giving back. Like, okay, I taught this course and I think it should be accessible to everybody. And to your point, you just mentioned it. I did double check while we were just talking. If you go on Bose's website, there are several different levels of the course. The minimum being $50 and the top being $250. And with that, you get access to what she is talking about in this course. It is to give back to people that can't attend Harvard, can't attend, some of these like workshops and courses. It is life lessons that you can take with you and skills that you can. And I think she even mentioned that, right, in the reunion, like things that she has learned to help, like your resume and building and how to confidently ask for a promotion at work, like real life skills that you can something tangible that you can take. Like when you're going to go into a review with your boss in a meeting, how do I firmly but professionally position myself for like a raise, which I have heard her talk about many times in different interviews. So for Amanda to twist that into this argument that, oh, well, you said it. You said you lose money as if she's some like fucking business failure. You are a disgrace to women. And I'm not a woman, so I don't know if it's inappropriate for me to say, but I'm going to say it anyways because I'm a feminist. You are not showing yourself as a good example of women empowerment that you claim to be by saying a fucking ignorant statement like that. Because I don't think it takes much. If you go on her website, I don't think it takes months to garner that. I think it's quite clear of what the mission is that Bose is trying to do versus Amanda, who will charge you up the fucking ass for God knows what. Those are,
and now that we know she's only charging it so she can pay her mortgage, it's like, do you even charge that because you think that's the real price, or is it because this is your livelihood? Because we've been talking about Bose for this entire season. When have we ever talked about her being a professor? Mm-hmm. She taught that for 3 semesters because she's been the chief marketing officer with Netflix and Apple or iTunes. And ma'am, the problem with Amanda is, for one, she does not respect other women. For Bose to even say, in fact, I lost money on it. You can even tell in her tone of voice that this is a vulnerable conversation. This is not a conversation for you to put on a billboard. I don't care that there's cameras here. You can tell that this is a conversation she is just having with you.
Totally.
And I get that it was recorded, but the fact that none of us even picked up on that was because, wow, she just shared that with you. Mm-hmm. Wow. And you're taking the one thing to be like, look, see? You're not great with your thing either. How does that make you a better business owner? Exactly. In the words of Rachel, how does that add value to the conversation? Mm-hmm. It doesn't, Amanda. It's so childish because she's an adult. It's just disrespectful.
And furthermore, I just want to point this out, and I try not to go there because I know that people get a lot of heat for just saying this, but I'm just saying, I just find it very interesting, or at least tone deaf, if nothing else. Sitting around there, and she kind of came for Rachel a little bit, but we know, okay, Rachel, accomplished businesswoman, owns an empire. Bose, need we say more about her beautiful resume? Doree, I don't know what she's up to. She used to have a swimwear line that is no longer existing, but she's had some business ventures that Kyle also pointed out. She supported every single one of them, and I don't know where any of them are anymore. Just saying, but Kyle supported them. We saw the flashbacks. Erica's an accomplished musician and now DJs. Sutton, yeah, she inherited millions, or yes, I guess collectively from her husband, but I don't know what she does. I know she owns like a brand or whatever. And then, Kyle does her thing. I find it very interesting. The one woman she really comes for and uses the term failure is probably one of the most accomplished women on that stage that just so happens to be the only non-white person on that stage. I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's a race thing necessarily. I'll just point out that this is what we talk about in terms of microaggressions to just flat out, racism or race related issues. If anything, it's tone deaf, that it's not a good look, Miss Woman Empowerment, when you are calling clearly the most notable, accomplished person outside of Rachel Zoe on that couch a failure because you twisted one sentence that she said that is not even an accurate statement in relation to what she was talking about. I'm just saying it's not a good look. If anything, bare minimum, that's the person.
I keep waiting for Amanda to say, that's not a microaggression. I have Black friends. I keep waiting.
She's that girl.
She's said it with Eddie before. I know she's
the girl that says, I don't see color. Yeah, she is that girl.
I know. I absolutely know. And I keep waiting for her to say something like that. I just know it. And Bose is too classy to say, pick on someone whose wallet fits.
I wish she would.
Said that before.
At this point.
Pick on someone whose resume fits. Any of it.
Yeah. Pick someone else's exactly. That's what she should say. Pick a resume that actually aligns with what the fuck you're trying to accuse me of, or what narrative you're trying to create. Because now it just shows your lack of intelligence and your stupidity. I don't know who gave you a master's degree. Maybe it was like some bullshit online school that maybe the same place where you got your certificates for your manifesting courses. But
I'm gonna sleep.
I really can't stand her.
No, when you said she had that, I was like, online university. And I was like, Kyla, that's so bad. Dang. I might be so used to microaggressions, I missed it. Because, Bose is...
Which is very sad, but that's furthers my point of what I'm saying. It's just to be cognizant of it at the very least, of I
mean, you don't want them to be so political correct, but then also... I didn't like the disrespect about my business, but me being the one Black woman up here too, or excuse me, African American, she's literally Ghanaian,
right,
and you calling
me
out.
But you know what I mean, let alone why my business gotta fail? Why am I losing the money?
When I saw the clip, it made me sad for Amanda, because I was like, you will never get another chance to sit and listen to a master like that.
Listen.
But that's the part that irritated me. It was the disrespect for her as a businesswoman. But to your point, you did also take those 3 words, and now I'm a failure because I said I didn't create something for money, which is a completely different thing. You know what I mean? I crochet blankets. I don't pay my mortgage with that. And that's okay to not monetize stuff.
I can't remember if it was in the same question or another one, but the question was it included saying your hot husband.
Yes.
And did you see her facial reaction? She was like what? Giving us so many subliminal hints. Model,
and she found one, and that she probably does not even.
But if you really love your husband and think he's hot, you would be like, "That's right, he's hot." Not oh, why would they say that? It's
oh,
you have a lot of issues, girl.
She does, and I remember one of the questions where they kind of drill down, and she's like, "You're right, it wasn't the right thing to say, but
we talk about it."
He talks and you don't listen.
Yeah, you go talk to your spouse, significant other, whatever. Like, how does this make you feel? Okay, good. And then it's exactly what the other women were saying. But that shit festers. All it takes is like, okay, in a year from now, you could be really pissing him off. And then he's going to say, you know what? And then all that resentment shit comes out. That is such a common thing. So I really don't care what he says in the moment. I think that's such an ignorant, like, spouse like thing to say. Like, we talk about it and he's okay with it.
He's probably her best friend, too. He's my best friend.
Gross. I hate people who say shit like that.
I know.
My husband's my best friend.
And I bet you she probably makes him watch it with her.
Oh, totally. And like, look
So
at me
that they
here,
can
honey.
talk
She's like,
about
look at
it.
me there. Look at my butt.
But
or
meanwhile,
something.
he's probably been on Reddit reading all the shit people are saying about him like the whole time.
Or maybe he's the one like privately saying shit about her. Like, yeah, she's stupid or something.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Let us know if you're watching the reunion.
Yeah, leave
We've
us a
been
comment.
loving to see all of the comments on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And
and tell us who you're
We'll be back with part
2.
All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
But she's still, whatever she was doing drinking. Wait, 2016. That was 10 years ago. Has she even been with Eddie yet?
I think so.
So she just created a whole new life now.
I know. I'm trying to see if there's like anything on Reddit about
The one in hold on, let me say goodbye and then you can stop the recording, but we can keep talking for a minute.